Welcome back to the Justin Rombough podcast. Today we'll be going over the games yesterday, recording this at about 10:30 in the morning on Friday. So let's get into it. The first game of the day, BYU and Alabama. Coming into the game, I knew it was going to be a high-scoring affair. Alabama, one of the best offenses in the country, and BYU, one of the hottest teams in the country coming into the game. BYU shot 46% from three in their last game against Wisconsin. Bama, on the other hand, 41% from three against St. Mary's, so you know it was going to be a high-scoring affair. And if I were to tell BYU fans that you would score 88 points against Alabama, I think they would believe it would be a close game, but that was not indeed the case. Alabama wins by 25 points on 25 three-pointers, a record-breaking performance. Mark Sears has a game for the ages with 10 threes. It was pretty much over. Early in the second half, Bama was able to sustain a huge lead, and it pretty much was, when you're shooting 49% from three on 51 attempts, a record-breaking amount, it's pretty much impossible to stop. Alabama moves on. They will play Duke. Let's get into that game. Coming into the game, Duke favored by 9.5 points. They had beaten Arizona at McKale in November, 69-55. Coming into the game, Arizona, they had nothing to lose. Duke had everything to lose. In the game back in November, Arizona had only shot 6 of 23 from three. Duke shot 9 of 25. Del Orso for Arizona only played 4 minutes. Awaka played 12 and Vasar only 13. That was back when we had Krivos as our center before his season-ending injury. Caleb Love in that game was 3 for 13 from the field, 1 of 9 from three, only had 8 points. And coming into the game, I believe that Arizona would cover the 9.5. I had a feeling that it was going to be a little bit closer than experts thought. I knew it was going to be Cooper Flagg versus Caleb Love, the stars of each of their respective teams. And then Moloch, the big center for Duke, was going to have a battle against Awaka inside and Vasar. And then the guard play, Knipple and Proctor versus Lewis and Bradley. I knew it was going to come down to those matchups. And I had a feeling Duke was going to win. They're probably going to win the tournament. They're a very, very talented team. Probably going to have 3 players drafted in this year's NBA lottery. To start the game, Arizona was hanging tough, up 13-10 early at the first timeout. Foul trouble, the refs were calling absolutely everything in this game. 2 fouls for Gamba and Malik, and then Bradley and KJ Lewis picked up those 2 fouls. And one of the backbreakers in the game, right before half, it was 45-42 Duke. Arizona brings up the ball. Caleb Love has it, shoots a deep 3 with about 6 seconds left. Duke gets the rebound. Bringing it down the court is Cooper Flagg, bombs a 30-footer, hits it to go up 6 at half. And that's when I knew the Wildcats were going to be in trouble in the second half, because every point matters, and a quick 6-point turnaround potentially to end the half was a backbreaker. At half, Cooper Flagg had 18 points. Caleb Love had 14. Caleb Love was doing his thing. He ends the game with 35 points. No turnovers. I think he hit 5 threes. Flagg had 30 points. Knipple had 20. Overall, some takeaways from the game. Duke just obviously very, very talented. Arizona just, other than Caleb Love, we just didn't have that go-to player that we could rely on. Duke had some guys hit some key threes and make some huge buckets inside. The thing that I really noticed, Cooper Flagg, his ability on the short roll to throw those lobs, it's a great skill that I think will translate well in the NBA. I think he's going to be a great NBA player, just the growth that he's shown this season as an 18-year-old freshman, his ability to dribble the ball, his physicality in the paint, his shooting touch, that fadeaway over Townsend was ridiculous. He's a stud. I think Duke's going to go all the way. I had them before the tournament going all the way. I still would agree with that from what we've seen so far. Arizona puts up a great fight, only losing by 7 against this respectable Duke team. It was probably the best way to go out. Just not getting blown out was huge. But man, Flag is tough. He's a stud. Caleb Love, a polarizing Arizona player to say the least, but he will be missed. His teammates spoke highly of him. Vasar and Tommy Lloyd had some great things to say about him. I think he could find success at the pro level. He's got a NBA frame, athleticism. His shooting is streaky, but I think he has shown enough that he can be a hot scorer off the bench, be a bit of a streaky NBA player coming off the bench, is able to score at will. Up next on the slate, we had Maryland and Florida. Florida pretty much was taking control the entire game. Derek Queen for Maryland. It was pretty much him and Reese. Derek Queen had 27 points. Florida and Maryland not really shooting that well from 3. Florida 39% and Maryland 32%. Florida ends up winning that one by 16 points, 87-71. Coming into the game, the questions I had pretty much: how was the big 3 going to play for UConn, or how were the big 3 going to play for Florida? They went 47% from 3 against UConn. Maryland was 39%. Maryland had a decent balanced attack. They were shooting very well from 3 in their first 2 games, 44 and 42% from 3. But Florida just had too much star power. They were just too much to handle. Elijah Martin, Walter Clayton, and the crew was just too much. And the best game of the night was the nightcap, Arkansas, Texas Tech. Arkansas dominates the entire game. It was going to be a low-scoring affair. Neither team can really shoot the 3 that well. Toppin and Williams combined for 53 points against Drake. And I had Arkansas upsetting, going to the Elite 8. And it looked like that was going to happen. It looked like that was going to come to fruition. But then Texas Tech starts rolling back near the end of the game. They go on a 13-2 run to end the game and force overtime. Texas Tech in the game only shoots 25% from 3. 62 points come from JT Toppin, Darian Williams, and Anderson. 22 points for him. It was a season high and a career high for the freshman. John L. Davis has 30 points. The Razorbacks shoot 40% from 3 as a team, 10 of 25, and it's not enough. Texas Tech wins it in overtime. Darian Williams with the game-winning floater with 5 seconds left. DJ Wagner is not able to get the bucket at the end. A strange ending for Arkansas. Obviously, they upset St. John's as a 10 seed and are leading pretty much the entire game. Have a 16-point lead over Texas Tech and unable to get it done. Texas Tech moves on. The Big 12 is still alive in the tournament. Overall, some takeaways from these 4 games last night. Arizona puts up a respectable fight. I think going into next season, obviously, getting a top 10 recruit like Koa Pete is huge. Gatorade National Player of the Year. Or I think the Player of the Year in Arizona as well. Perry, 4-time state champions in Arizona. Shout out to the Pumas. Could be getting Braden Burries as well, the number 11 player in the country. We'll see what happens for the Wildcats. Obviously losing Caleb Love. Probably going to have Jaden Bradley come back. KJ Lewis. Vasar is going to be back. Hopefully Carter Bryant stays and doesn't go to the NBA draft. I think he can help his stock by having a bigger role next season. He obviously has the frame and athleticism and shooting ability to make it in the NBA. But having that extra year, I think, will be huge for him. Also, we could have some other players coming back as well. Awaka. Del Orso, I don't think, is a senior. We could have him coming back as well. So this could be a huge squad. Maybe in the portal we can snag some players as well. Arkansas, blowing that 16-point lead is tough. But Calipari will reload and rebuild for next season. Bama breaking the 3-point record. They're going to have an unbelievable game against Duke. That's going to be a battle of stars. Mark Sears, Cooper Flagg, and the crew. Florida dominates. Will play Texas Tech. I really like this Florida squad. I'm very excited for these games coming up in the Elite Eight, Final Four. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait. Some of the games for this evening: Ole Miss and Michigan State. I really like Michigan State. Tom Izzo, this is a classic Michigan State squad. I have them beating Ole Miss. And then the rematch that keeps happening in the SEC, Kentucky and Tennessee. This is their third time meeting up. Will it be third time's the charm for Tennessee? I guess we'll find out. I think it'll be a great battle. I have Tennessee finally being able to beat Kentucky. Moving on, Michigan and Auburn. I think Michigan can put up a fight. I really like Golden and Danny Wolf. I like their game. 2 7-footers that can play off each other in a pick and roll type situation. I think they could cause some issues for Auburn. Johnny Brome has not looked like the SEC Player of the Year. He hasn't hit a single 3 in the tournament. And I think Michigan could pull off the upset. I really like the thought of a Michigan State Elite Eight matchup on Sunday. Purdue and Houston will be the nightcap game. I think Houston's defense will be too much for this Purdue squad. I think Houston moves on. And those are my final predictions and reactions. We will have more content coming this weekend. And thanks for watching. Make sure to follow on Spotify, rate 5 stars, subscribe to the channel. Every subscription matters. And until next time.